Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Fireside Chat. This is an exclusive program for In Defense of Animals, and we're just thrilled to have you all here. My name is Lisa Levinson. I'm the campaigns director here at IDA, and it's really a pleasure for me to introduce you to some of my colleagues here. We have with us our development director, Bob Price. Want to wave, say hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Fantastic. And we also have our development membership associate, Mary Easonsey. Hi, Mary.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Yes. And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our very special guest today, who will be sharing a little bit more about Hope Animal Sanctuary. And that is, we've got our sanctuary director, Debbie Clark. You want to wave and say hello?
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. And then we also have Sharon Stone, the manager of Hope Animal Sanctuary.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much. So without too much further ado, we're going to jump right into the program here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then Sharon is going to do a little presentation for you. That'll be the beginning. And then after you learn more about the history and the latest about what's going on at Hope Animal Sanctuary, then we will open it up for a Q&A, and you can meanwhile ask any questions that you have in the chat box, and we will answer them, and we will get back to you during the Q&A. So please, we're so excited to have you here and to engage with you. So feel free to use the chat box. So we're going to go ahead and bear with me while we get this part started. This is the share screen part. I'm going to go ahead and get Sharon ready and spotlight her while we go ahead and then do the share screen. One more second to get that one set up perfectly for everybody. Okie dokie. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen, and then we'll go ahead and get the slideshow going. All right, so we are ready. Sharon, you are ready to take it away when you'd like to.
Thank you. So as Lisa said, I am Sharon Stone, Operations Manager at Hope Animal Sanctuary. Lisa, next slide, please. This is Hope Animal Sanctuary. In 2015, Odette Groats, who was the Grand Dame of New Orleans and very much an animal lover, passed away, and her estate had mentioned Hope Animal Sanctuary, left money for In Defense of Animals for Hope Animal Sanctuary. And with that money in 2018, we built this sanctuary. There are 20 tiny houses, as you can see. It's in like a cul-de-sac, and the center is the operations center, where the office, the quarantine room for sick dogs, a full kitchen, and of course 2 restrooms, an education room. And then the houses they're just like your house and my house. They're, except smaller. They're insulated, heated and cooled. There's a back door that opens into, has a doggy door. Each one of them have doggy doors. And so they have access 24/7 to outside if they want to standalone fenced-in yards, which are 45 feet wide by 150 feet long. Plenty of room for them to run and play. So we have not found another one like it anywhere in the world. There may be one, but we hadn't found it. So we're really, really proud of Hope Animal Sanctuary, and it was built with the thought that each of these little houses is just like a home, and it makes the transition for the dogs from the sanctuary to a home so much easier. And of course we address all kind of animal cruelty and abandoned animals and you name it, and we deal with it. Lisa, next please, ma'am. Shortly after we moved into the new sanctuary, had gone to lunch and came back, and this is what we found. And you can see that there was a rainstorm, and somebody had left these kittens in this plastic tub outside of the gate, which was locked, in a rainstorm. And so it began. Next, please, ma'am. This is Lovey. Lovey was left in the crate you see her in on the left. She had a severe case of mange, really severe case of mange. She was shut in the crate about 2 miles from the sanctuary. Fortunately, a good Samaritan saw her, turned around and came back and told us. We went and got her. And on the right, you see Lovey in her forever home. So whoever left her like that, we'll never know who it was, but it sure was their loss. Next, Lisa. This was probably one of the most interesting hoarding cases that we've ever seen. I actually got a message from a girl telling me about dogs on chains at a house, and sadly, that's not unusual here. It happens a lot, and we were full. The sanctuary was full, and I told her, I didn't know what we could do, and it's not against the law for dogs to be on chains. Then she sent me pictures of cats on chains, and that is unusual. Lisa. This is another one of the dogs from that same property. Next, Lisa. And this is one of the cats. The cat was terrified, and you can see that barrel is the shelter that this cat had. And the cat was trying desperately to get away from us. Next. And this is a different cat in the same kind of a barrel. You can see that the chain around this one's neck is rather tight. Next. These are 2 Korean Jindos. We actually took a total of 6 Jindos from Korea. These 2 are still with us at the sanctuary. They're pretty fearful of people, although the one on the right is a lot better than the one on the left. The one on the left is golly, I've forgotten her name. Y'all have to excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous. But Rudy is on the right, the male is Rudy, and Happy's on the left. Rudy has come around much better, and he likes the girls. He loves the girls. He loves to be brushed, but Happy still really doesn't want us to touch her. Next. This is Everett. Everett came to us a severe abuse case years ago, and then he had been shot in one eye. So he only has one eye. One of his eyes is completely gone. He's been with us for a long time, and he's a permanent resident there. Next. This is Shadow. And we named him that because I had actually gotten a call to go to a property about a dog. The sheriff's department had asked me to go there, and I went, and there was this horse, and the sheriff's department, they just would have it no other way, but we were going to take that horse, and Shadow didn't want to have it any other way either. He followed us all over that property, and when we left, we didn't come to take a horse. We didn't know there was a horse there. And when we left to go back and get the horse trailer, he stayed right with us and followed us. And so we named him Shadow.
Aww.
And he is super sweet. We love him. Next. This is another hoarding case. Another really severe hoarding case. These dogs had never been outside of the house they lived in. You can see how dirty they were. The house was on a concrete slab. When you walked on the floor, it was like walking through mud. It was that dirty. Lisa, next slide. This is the floor of the house. And what you're looking at in the center of that picture is a jawbone of a dog that either died or was killed in that house. Next. This little dog, it was really, really cold early this year. And here in Mississippi, we don't have a lot of really cold weather, but that particular, there was about a week we had way below freezing, like 0. And this little dog on the right had come up to a store, heavy pregnant, begging to get in. Fortunately, they're animal lovers and they let her in that store and kept her warm and called us. And we went and got her. And just in a few days, she delivered all these babies. She's living in a home now. The babies are gone, living in homes. So that was everything we do it seems like it might be bad, but it's not. There was a good ending for all of these babies. Next. And this little dog on the left, you can see severely matted, was way out in the country at a farm shop, and there wasn't no homes around. How she got there, we don't know. But they called me. We went and got her, had her groomed, and you can see her with her new mom right there. She weighed 6 pounds. I mean, but now, she's the apple of their eye. She rules the roost in her new home. Next picture. This is a little dog that came to us with a broken leg. And we, of course, carried her to the vet, and he put a cast on it, but it just would not heal. So she had to have her leg amputated. But the day after it was amputated, she was so happy she could finally run. And she had not been able to because of the cast and because the leg was broken. And I'm sure that she had been in pain, but we sent her picture and her story to a friend of ours in a rescue up north. And she immediately said, "Oh, I want her. I had a tripod that passed away and I want her." And so she's living up in the Northeast, happy as she can be. Next slide. This is Wheezy. We got a call from the sheriff's department. They thought a dog had been run over. Obviously, when we got there, the picture on the right is what we saw. She had been burned. Somebody burned her with what the veterinarian thinks was hot oil.
Jesus.
We picked Wheezy up, took her to the vet. 2 days later,
Oh no.
Dropped out. You've dropped out. You can't hear you.
Your mute button, you're on mute.
Yes. Can Bob, if you can unmute Sharon, please, that would be great.
I'm looking.
all right, that got it. Y'all hear me
Sorry
now?
about that, Sharon.
That's all right. Okay, so we picked her up and carried her to our vet. We were going to leave her there a day or two because the burns were pretty severe. We treat most animals at the sanctuary. We're trained to do that, but we did leave her a couple of days. She was at an elderly man's house, and he loved her. He cried when we took her, and I told him we'll take her, and we'll treat her, and we'll get her well, and we'll get her spayed, and we'll bring her back to you. And that was the plan. 2 days later, an F4 tornado came through, and it wiped out everything in that neighborhood, everything. So Wheezy has been with us. She obviously could not go back home after that. There was no home to go back to. But the good news is that Wheezy is leaving after the first of the year, going up north. And we are so excited for her. She's the sweetest dog. She doesn't care that she was mistreated. She loves everybody. And so she's got her ticket up north and she's leaving, and we're thrilled to death for her. Lisa? And that's just a picture of some really cute puppies. I mean, they're super cute. Two of our animal caregivers on the left, Jeannie Grammer, on the right, Felicia Dunn. And these were little cattle dog mixes that were just so friendly and sweet. And they've gone up north and they're all living in homes up there. Next. And that's just a good picture. And I wanted y'all to see that, of that same litter. Next one, Lisa. These
Aw.
puppies were, a girl called me late one afternoon and said that her dog had had puppies and the dog had been sick, got sick. And she carried the dog to the vet, and the vet told her that the dog could not nurse the puppies. And she asked me if I would take them, and I said, yeah, I'll take them. And she said there were 5. No, there were 6. And she was going to keep 3 and asked me to take 3. And I said, okay. And I met her. And when she handed me 3 puppies, they all fit in the palm of my hand, all 3 of them. That they were Chihuahuas. They were 1 day old. They didn't even weigh an ounce. I didn't know how I was going to feed them. I had no clue. They were too small for baby bottles. You can see in the picture on the left, there's a dropper there. And that's how small they were. So I was just desperate, and I went into a store and I found makeup sponges, and I cut the makeup sponges into a little triangle that would fit in their mouth, and that's how I fed them. It was, and they had to be fed every 2 hours, and that went on for like about 4 weeks. But we do what we have to do. Next. These 2 puppies were, girl moved off and left them. They were just abandoned. They were little sticks walking around. And you know, it defies logic how people can walk out their door every day and see little puppies that are hungry and running to you. And I know that they did because they ran to us and they didn't know us. They just knew they needed help. So we took them back to the sanctuary, bathed them, gave them vaccines and wormed them. And then now they're gone up north. Next. This was another hoarding case. And there were 65 animals on this property. For any rescue to take 65 animals is known to impossible. You know, space is an issue. We have finite amount of space. So we contacted some of our friends that have rescues in Jackson, and 2 other groups helped us. We split them. We each took 20. And these are some of the ones that the first day we brought them into the sanctuary. You see how lovable they were, which is unusual in a hoarding case. But these little dogs were starving to death. Several of them had been run over by vehicles and they had broken legs, but they were super sweet. Next. And now we have been transporting animals to the Northeast for a long time, and we've been transporting, pretty large numbers and adopting dogs and cats out up north. And that's after COVID, and it's really slowed down a lot. So now we have a spay and neuter program, and the little kitty on the left is one of the ones that we have neutered. And the dog on the right is a male that we neutered, a male. I'm sorry, this is in our program, by the way, is in 2 counties, Carroll County and Montgomery County, and it's for low income people. So we're taking applications, and if they meet the parameters of the application, they get approved, and we pay for the spay and neuter. That's the way we can reduce the population of animals. Next slide, Lisa. And I'll tell you, I've said this a lot of times, a whole lot of times. It does not matter what we do here. It does not matter. If you guys don't support us and help us, nothing we do matters. And so we are so grateful for our supporters, so grateful. And I can tell you that there's a lot of dogs and cats and horses that are grateful too. Thank y'all so much for joining us. And Lisa, that's all I've got.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Sharon, so much. We're delighted to hear the updates and all of
Thank
the.
you, Laura.
I really especially liked your ingenuity when trying to feed those little baby chihuahuas. They were so adorable, and to use makeup sponges. I never would have thought of that. That's so clever.
You just do what you have to do. They hadn't been fed in a day. They were so hungry. Bless their hearts.
Yeah, and so it's good for everyone to see the variety of cases and that you work with and situations. So from horses to baby chihuahuas, we've got all of them there. So I'm going to bring Debbie on too, so we can,
Thank you,
unmute
Lisa.
you. And then Debbie, you might want to unmute, and then we're going to add you here, so people can share. And then if anyone has questions, we've got a couple of ways that you can ask questions or share comments. You can do it through the chat box. You can also do the raise hands button, and that way we'll be able to see that you have a question. And if you'd like, we can welcome you on to hear your question. So just curious if anybody has any questions. And Mary, if you've seen any questions or comments in the chat you'd like to share.
Brenda Nierenberg had a comment. She says that there's a cat overpopulation problem where she is. And she wants to know how she can help with problems in her area. Do you have any advice?
Other than
May I
spay and
speak?
neuter.
No, I've been working on spay and neuter in Pearl River County since 2010 with trap neuter return and with helping people out in the community who maybe don't have transportation, don't have traps, or maybe it's pet cats and they don't have transportation. I just recently cleaned up a mess at the post office where 11 cats were dumped. All but one of them, who someone came up and took, ended up in homes. I'm now working with the lady. These are just examples. I've been doing this since 2010 off and on, who's got 22 on her property. Somebody gave her 3 kittens and it got out of control. I've already done 7 of those through money that was left over from the post office cat fundraising. I'm not a 501c3. I'm an individual. I'll be 71 years old next month. I'm really getting worn out. And while we do have $20 spay neuter vouchers for community cats, they do not include ferals in that. They're defining community cat differently. And the ferals, we're paying $60 for a feral, and that's rough. And I'm wondering if there's any way to get part of your, I don't write grants. Again, I'm not a 501c3. Of your spay neuter program down here in Pearl River County. That's my question.
We're starting in 2 counties, and that is in Mississippi, in Montgomery County and Carroll County, because they're pretty poverty stricken areas, and we've got a finite amount of money.
I understand.
And so we have to start somewhere, and we're starting there. Now we hope that we can expand into adjoining counties down the road next year. We hope to be able to. But, again, we got a finite amount of money to do that with. So,
I understand.
Brenda,
Thank you.
where is Pearl River County?
You're doing it.
Pearl River County is one of the 6 coastal counties. You have Jackson, Harrison, and
In
Hancock.
Mississippi? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm in
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Mississippi.
very good.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and Sharon is absolutely right. It comes down to money and resources, and the more resources we have, the more we can do.
I understand.
Sounds like to me you're doing a fantastic job, though, I'll tell you that.
This old gal is wearing out, though.
I hear you, honey.
I know you do. I know. Thank you so much for all you all have done. And you work closely with Doll
I do.
Stanley.
I sure do.
I've met her several times at different workshops and things.
I've worked with several people from the coast. Nicole Nuccio, worked with her for a long time.
Mhm.
So yeah, we all work together.
Yep.
But if I can help you, call me. We can brainstorm anyway.
Okay. After the holidays, we'll try that. Thank you so much.
You're so
Bless
welcome.
you.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for your question and for your incredible work to help all these kitties.
You are welcome. I actually have 33 of my own. I'm going to mute myself now.
Well, good for you. That is fantastic. You've got a big heart for all the kitties. We also have another question from Jeffrey Mausner. So I'm going to ask you to unmute if you don't mind, and then we'll add you so you can ask your question.
Thank you for all you're doing. Does your organization receive funding from the city or county or state?
No, ma'am. No, sir. It's strictly donations. We don't receive any funding from anybody.
Is there an animal services department or an animal control department in your city or county?
We're in Carroll County. The sanctuary is located in Carroll County, which is a very rural county. And in Carroll County, there is no animal control. There is no dog pound. There is no shelter. In Winona, which is the adjoining county, Montgomery County, the city has a very small dog pound, and they do have an animal control officer. In Grenada, the county has nothing. The city does have a dog pound. So, it's rough here. It really is. It's hard. And we can't save them all. We save a lot, but we know we're not going to save them all. We do all we can. And of course, we get calls from law enforcement on a daily basis almost. So,
yeah, well, in that regard and other regards, you are performing functions that a city or county animal services department should be performing. And the government should be paying you to do this. They should have a contract with you to do these things and pay you.
now, and they might like that, but we don't have space to have a contract. If we have a contract with the county, I've got to take every dog they ask me to take, every one of them, and I can't do that.
Mhm.
We're no kill. When we fill up, that's it. We've got to stop. History has taught me, this is personal experience, if you overcrowd, bad things happen. And so once we reach a certain point outside of extreme emergencies, we're going to stop intake. We have to, until we can move some out. So, being a part of a government entity is not where we want to go.
Yeah. Well,
I have
not as a
thought
part.
about it.
Yeah. Not as a part, but as an outside contractor where
Right.
you set the number of dogs and cats that you take and they pay you for that. I mean, a lot of a lot of cities don't have, smaller cities. I'm in Los Angeles and there's a huge, animal services department.
Mhm. Right.
But some small cities and towns that I've seen, even in Los Angeles County, they pay rescues, or they pay another animal services department, contract out to them to do these things. And
Mhm.
that may be a really good source of money for you.
You're going to be upside down, I can tell you. With what I've worked with a shelter that had that set up, that actually they had a contract with the city and the county. So they got money from the city and the county, and they were always so overloaded. And the amount of money here in rural Mississippi that you're going to get is, I mean, it won't even cover a spay and neuter. And then you talk about vaccines and you talk about injured dogs. So you would be upside down, and we're taking a lot of dogs, we're taking not all of their dogs because we can't, but we do take a lot of them. And so we, that's the way we really think we need to work like that we have control over the ones that we help, because I don't want to leave some out there that really need help for just a regular stray dog. Although we take those too.
Well, thank you for what you do. You
Thank you
should
so
be
much.
getting money from the government. That's that's what I have to say.
Sorry, thanks for these great ideas, Jeffrey. These are very helpful, and maybe things that we can look into. The dynamics in LA and Mississippi and Grenada are probably very different.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And it looks like we do have another question. So thanks, Jeffrey, for joining. And let's see, Lady Nora, would you like to ask your question? You're welcome to unmute if you'd like. Let's see, Nora.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted.
A sign came up. That doesn't usually happen. That stopped me. Anyway, yeah, I also put it into chat. I was just concerned about the dog that had a cast on it with the broken leg. Did they actually pin that broken leg first before putting the cast on? Because it's not going to heal unless you pin it first. And then you put the cast. It just sounded to me like they just put a cast on the dog's leg. That's not going to break,
Well, we didn't pin this particular one, and I'm not a veterinarian and don't pretend to be. And so I'll leave those. I mean, we've been working with this veterinarian a long time and trust him 100%. And so we leave those kind of decisions to him. Of course, he runs them by us. This is what I think we need to do. But, he's a really good vet. For some reason, this baby's leg just would not heal. There was something more going on with that leg than just that simple clean break. Now, what is it? I don't know. I've seen it a time or two before, but she did so much better. I'll tell you one thing that happened. We don't know how long that leg had been broken when that man brought that puppy to us. There is no telling. And so, it wasn't like it was a real fresh break. So she's doing great. And she immediately didn't really even know that she had 3 legs. She was so happy.
Well, a fresh break will with a pin. You have to pin it first so that that go back into place, and then you cast, and a fresh break will heal. So the poor dog didn't have to be amputated if it's done properly. Obviously, take a break to see where that break is, and then pin it under anaesthetic, obviously, and then cast it. That can heal, and then you take the pin out when it's rejoined. us back together again. So that's a shame. Yeah, that concerned me when you told me that. That was a little bit. The vet, he might be a good vet. He's pretty negligent with this little dog. Just thought I'd let you know. You can tell them.
Well, thank you for your information, Nora. And it's something that Sharon, since she works closely with this veterinarian, she can bring that question back to the person. Although there may be other pieces to this puzzle that we're not quite aware of, and maybe more in the veterinary field, they might have been able to respond particularly to that question. Yeah, so thank you for asking it. Just curious, Mary, are there any other questions that you're seeing or comments that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, Victoria asked how many dogs live in each of the houses at the sanctuary?
That's a great question. The houses are 12 feet wide by 24 feet long. So they're good size. And again, that they're on a concrete slab, and inside they look just like your house and my house. Adult dogs, sometimes 2, sometimes 4. There's plenty of room for 4. It depends on the dogs. Dogs are like people. They may not like everybody, but until you try them out. And like I say, sometimes we have 4 to a house, sometimes 2 to a house. We're not set up, we don't do 1 to a house, because we believe that they want to live in groups, and they want to have a social setting, and they're much happier that way. And so that's what we do. If they don't particularly like this group, we'll move them to another group until we find one they do like. So, and puppies, of course, we have had 6 puppies in a house. We typically get puppies when they're 6 weeks old, so they're small. And so we'll have 6 puppies in a house, and then if they are older puppies, we might have 3 in one house, 3 in another. So it's kind of a fluid number.
What's your full capacity, full number that you can accommodate?
We'll cut it off at 75. But it's, as I said, that's fluid. If we have to, if it's an emergency and we have had to do this, we'll shuffle around so we can make space for those that really have to be there.
And another question I had is just about volunteers. I imagine you have a pretty good number of volunteers that are coming every day and helping out.
We really don't. And that's because we're in such a rural area. The sanctuary is not, it's the closest town is about 12 miles. So, and there's a couple of people that live close to us, 3 or 4 houses within a half a mile or so, or a mile. But there's not a lot of places to draw volunteers from.
Thanks for that question, Victoria. We appreciate it. Yeah. That's one of the unique things about Hope Animal Sanctuary is it is in this rural area. So that's also why the spay-neuter program is so important in that county. Yeah. So Mary, I think if there's any other questions, maybe you can.
First, Lisa was asking if we could have people help by writing grant proposals. And she also asked, it seems like you work with rescues from other parts of the country, and how is that helpful?
It absolutely has saved more lives than I can explain. The population here is so small. Again, it's a rural area, spread out, low population, and everybody here, because of the so many dogs, so many cats, has 3 or 4 or 5 already. And, so almost everybody has that many because they're showing up at their house. And so, it took me a while to get on board with this transporting up north. But as I got to know the people there, and I know them, I know when they get married and when they have birthdays, and we talk on the phone. I know them and I trust them. And I mean, we have sent so many up there that have gone into wonderful homes, just absolutely wonderful homes, and where there's just not enough people here to adopt all the dogs. They're just not. And it's not just Mississippi, it's all in the Southeast. We all do the same thing. So, every rescue in the Southeast has been doing the same thing. We're all kind of hurting right now.
Yeah, so that's a key part of our program, is to transport the dogs to the north, where there are more adopters.
All right, another question from the chat. Cynthia asks, is there land to build additional houses?
There is. We actually have a good bit of land there that if we decided to, we could build back across the road, build a mirror image of what's there now. Actually, we could. So yeah, we do have that.
And that's where some helpful funding comes in, because we did have
That's right.
a special, very large donation that came in that allowed us to go ahead and do those significant renovations and create all of those homes for the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, thank you. And we have Brenda again. She asked, is there a similar home-like program to help cats adjust after living on the streets?
Our kitties live in one of the houses. And so, yeah, their house is just like living in a house too. The only difference is their outside is smaller because it's fenced in on the side and the top with a wire that nothing can get in and they can't get out. But they do have access to go outside, whenever they want to. And we have a big dead branch in there that they can climb up and scratch. And so, yeah, we do that for the kitties as well. And we actually transport kitties up north, and we've got 3 that are leaving right after the first of the year going up north. They're being adopted up there.
Well, that's such good news for the kitties.
Yes.
Any other questions, Mary, that we might want to?
Third questions, but Cynthia says spay and neuter is definitely the way to go with so many animals multiplying. So great that we have our spay and neuter program started up here. And someone chimed in as Rita says she lives in Houston, Texas, and many rescues there are also sent to the Northeast and to Colorado.
That's right. Yeah.
Just the distribution of animals to adopters and having all of these connections, I just gotta say, is key, right?
It is key. It absolutely is.
It's like that's how you manage the numbers, really.
That's right. It is. And we've just been really blessed to have, to meet some people that we work with, Animal Rescue Front out of Massachusetts. And so we've been blessed because they had their own transport van, and they work with 3 or 4 groups here in Mississippi, and we're blessed to be one of them. And that's one way that we met people in the Northeast, and they've been really good friends to us and better friends to our animals, and that's what we care about.
Yeah. I missed one of the questions.
For the Chihuahua?
Yeah, the Chihuahua one. Rita asked about the mama Chihuahua and the puppies. Said the owner kept 3, but the dog couldn't nurse. Then what happened to those 3?
Okay, that's a good question, and I failed to mention that, and I should have. She called me about 10 o'clock that night and said, I can't do this.
Mm.
I can't feed them. Well, I tried to tell her that, but so we had all 6 of them. The mama, she kept, she got well. The vet had put her on some antibiotics, and the mama got well. We offered, of course, to spay her because that's what needed to happen, but they didn't want to do that. So, but we did. We had all the babies. And by the way, a good friend of mine stepped up because nobody can feed 6 every 2 hours around the clock it was about a month that we had to do that. And so she took 3 and I took 3, and we split the duties.
I think the follow-up to that question was about follow-up. So is there, if there was any other way to get them, the puppies all got spayed, and then the mom, you're saying the people who, the caretakers of the mom were not interested in her being spayed.
Nope. We can't force people, We offer it. We never take puppies. When people ask us to take puppies, we never take puppies without offering to spay them. Now, many times they just, and it won't cost them a penny, not a penny, but we'll pay for it. But many times they just won't take advantage of it.
Mm. Well, thank you for your questions, Rita. And then we also have Jeffrey. I'm wondering if you might want to ask a question.
Where do the spay neuter vouchers that you get come from, and what's the amount of them?
On this particular program, IDA has funded it completely. And so we're taking applications for low-income people. And if they fall within those parameters, we ask them to pay $25 and we'll assume the rest of the cost.
No government contribution to the
Oh, no.
vouchers.
No.
Oh, man.
I'm not aware of any government programs that pay for spay and neuter.
Mhm.
Certainly not
in Los Angeles. We're in the coming year, we're going to be funding $7.5 million.
Wow.
If we get it.
Yeah.
It's been in the 3 to 4 million, but we're asking for 7.5 this year. You guys are getting ripped off by the government, I'll tell you.
Mississippi is one of the poorest states in the nation. They don't have the money. If there was money to be had, we could try for it. I mean, but they don't have that. And that's one of the problems, is that these places are so rural and so remote. There are 0 services, none. In every instance, we are stepping in and fulfilling what I agree is an obligation of the role of government, but it is just the resources are not there.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And we do have, IDA has Dahl Stanley, who lobbies with the legislature about laws and such as that. I mean, it's not like that we are not, that we're not trying. We're doing everything we can do, but it's, as Bob said, the money's just not there.
Mm. Yeah. Well, thank you for doing what the government should be doing. So
it's our pleasure.
Thanks for those great questions, Jeffrey. And we know you are an expert in this, so we can definitely come to you for ideas. Thank you so much. Well, we are drawing towards the end of our time together. If there are any other questions, Mary, or anyone who's joined us, if you'd like to ask before we close our
I didn't see any other questions. Just people saying that they've adopted animals that have come from the South, wherever they are. We have one from Maryland, one from Connecticut, saying they're their best friend now, so it works out.
Oh, how wonderful.
I'm not sure, this is Brenda, if how many people are familiar with Phil Arco and the link between animal abusers and community abuse and situations. He also, I believe, has educational materials. Someone had mentioned how we've got to educate the children about things that just aren't right and what to do. And I'm just throwing this out as a wish and a prayer that there are wonderful national animal welfare groups. I wish the combined strength of all of these great people could get something done that mandated for humane education. We can't even get sex education completely approved. So I don't know that humane education it's going to be a while, but it will happen. And that's just my comment. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Well, thank you, Brenda, for that very insightful comment. And actually, Hope Animal Sanctuary, I know, Sharon, you may have stories of visiting in the schools. I know you've done a lot of public education.
We have, and of course, we set it up, and then of course, COVID came along and can't get in the schools anymore. They don't want us in there much. We're going to try again next year. And, I've got at the sanctuary, we've got 4 they're not children, but they're young women that these young kids in school can understand and they can relate to. And so and by the way, they're really good at doing programs. You guys have seen some of their videos. They're really good at it. And so we hope to put them in the schools next year.
Yeah, and they were doing it before as well, right?
Yes.
They had regular programs. They were going into the schools and doing this kind of public education.
Great.
Yeah. So thank you for that excellent question, because it brought out another aspect of Hope Animal Sanctuary that we really want to celebrate, is that type of public education. And I think they may have a little more luck going forward after COVID, as we talked about earlier. So, wow. Well, what a pleasure to be here with everyone. And I want to especially thank Sharon and also Debbie for what you have shared today and for the presentation, and also to thank Bob and Mary for your help. I don't know, Debbie, if you'd like to say anything add anything, you're welcome to if you'd like.
No, thanks, Sharon. Pretty much covered everything, but thank you.
Well, you two are a dynamic duo. You are fantastic at what you do there, being able to manage and care for all of the animals. We do have, as Sharon mentioned, we have at least four caregivers there who work day to day with the animals and provide a lot of love. And you've seen some wonderful photos of them. So we want to thank them as well. Yeah. So if anybody wants to connect and communicate with Sharon and Debbie, you can do so. We'll put their email into the chat box, so you can reach out to them with any questions that you may have, if there's something that pops up later that you didn't think about. And you're welcome to do that. And I will also we'll ensure to post this on our YouTube channel under our Fireside chats, and we'll include their contact information there as well. For everyone who's registered, you will get a replay, so you'll be able to enjoy this again or share it with people. So we want to just thank everybody for joining us. We hope that you have wonderful holidays, because this is the holiday season, and we know that the animals at Hope Animal Sanctuary will have a great holiday too. Do you have anything planned for the animals there?
Oh, well, they had a little party the other day. We have a little video of them opening gifts, and so yeah, they had a pretty good time doing that.
That is so fun. And if you haven't seen it, that will probably come out on our socials, on our social media sometime soon. So thank you for those really fun glimpses at life at Hope Animal Sanctuary. So we're very grateful to you, and also to everyone for joining us today. We Hope you have wonderful holidays, and we will see you in the new year. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Happy holidays and a happy new year. Bye-bye.